My people, welcome to the show. How are you? Happy Thursday to you. Thank you for joining me. This is HAL SPARKS Mega Worldwide. I'm back in studio after our lovely, podcast version yesterday. It's as near as I come to podcasting when Philip Bittner and I get together and I can set up two cameras and we can chat live in the same room. It was lovely to be able to do that. Today we are back to our regularly disscheduled programming, and then tomorrow I'm I perform tomorrow night with Nerd Halen, and depending on pressing issues, I may bump the afternoon show just for tech reasons and to save my voice. I have to sing 3 times this weekend, and I still have to do radio on Saturday. So forgive me if I, if I throw a monkey wrench in tomorrow's schedule. Pass it around. Don't get mad. Please cut me some slack, because it's an organic instrument, and it can only go so far, and it's extra delicate, I think, because I've had an Audio Slave song stuck in my head for the last 4 days, and most of the time I can keep myself from singing the chorus. It's because I watched Collateral the other day, and the Audio Slave song "Shadow on the Sun" is in that movie. Once upon a time, I was of the mind to lay your burden down. That one, great song, and but it's hard not to do the whole and I can't tell you why people die alone. Especially when I have to do clean singing. Yeah, shadow the sun. I mean, it's not, I'm not going to wear myself out totally, but it's just, and somebody goes, you can stop singing. I'm like, no, I can't. You don't understand. I don't sing. I'm a singer. I don't act. I'm an actor. I don't do stand-up. I am a stand-up. It's just what I do. And not doing it is really hard. At this point, you'll be very happy to know that where I may not professionally stream sometimes, I am a professional streamer. Yes, my mic cannot handle it. It's not the kind, yeah. I feel your pain. Thank you. Thanks so much, Slayer Chick. That Flapper show last night was really fun. I hope everybody enjoyed it. It was that was a good one. That was fun. So, anyways, I can't do everything. I just really, the things that I don't do most things. I don't do them. I am them. If I am them, then I can do them. If I am not them, I cannot do them, and I don't care to. So there you go. Last night's show was super fun. It really was. I'm looking forward to the next one already. And it was really hard fending off any material last night. For whatever reason, I had a very creative day yesterday. Before I was getting together with Philip, it's kind of that awareness that I have a live show coming up, that my brain starts solving the problem before I get there, which is not a bad habit to be in. But since I'm trying to avoid that as a writing exercise, I'm batting concepts and jokes down, quit it. Fully formed bits are floating by going, what's up? What are you doing? I'm get out of here. I wrote a whole bit yesterday morning, and I'm well, I know one thing. A, it's good, and B, it's not going in the show tonight, God damn it. So, anyways, it was a really good time. And when I do that, I'm more free to, kind of let the flow happen. It's the comedy jazz, you know what I'm saying? So laugh out loud. Thank you, Peggy. I was proud of that show. That was really fun. So anyways, where do we start? There's so much to cover. Oh my God. So one of the big storylines right now is the Nord Stream 2 pipeline explosion. Slash Nord Stream 1. Okay, hold on one second. Because hold on. Mm-hmm. Whoops, hold on. Let me see if I can bring up. Yeah. Okay, so the attack on Nord Stream 2. Please show Jimmy Dorsey. Oh, yes, James. Look at you already jumping ahead. There's a fight going on in tanky land about this particular thing, because this is Jimmy's take. Jimmy, no, Russia didn't blow up their own pipeline. Like, I guess he got the direct message. He got a DM. He got a telegram message from Putin himself. First of all, yes, they fucking well did. Nord Stream 2 is dead. It's been dead. It was a collaboration. The funds to make it came from Russia and from Germany. Germany is turning away from Russian oil and gas. Russia's not going to restart that fucking thing. They don't plan on stopping their attack on Ukraine anytime soon, so there's no chance that it's going to be a bargaining chip. They have no intention. They never had any intention of doing it. It's fucking absurd. And since Biden last year made it so that American insurance companies can't cover it as part of the sanctions, if something happens to it, they just got to fix it with cash, and they don't have any, so they just decided it has more strategic use. And so and my opinion is they're saying there were Russian boats in the area. There's all kinds of boats in the area. I think they sent a pig down there. That's what I think. I think it was done with a pig. A pig, you say? Hal, what's a pig? Let me show you what a pig is. Not that kind of pig. Simmer down. Pig is, of course, a movie starring Nicolas Cage, but that was not a bomb, so it would not have worked. It was a cult hit. For the record. Let's see. I'll show you. And yeah, I love that it's called pigging. Literally, not to be confused with pegging, which is something that this guy does to Jimmy. All right. So here you go. Here's a scraper pig. This is a good, hold on. Let me just use the images. Wait a second. Okay. There you go. So, in cleaning and maintenance of pipelines, they have these pipeline, what are they called? Like pipeline inspection gauges or gadgets, and or pipeline integrity gadgets. Or, I mean, there's a bunch of different versions of pigs, okay? They just look like a bunch of sex toys. But the purpose of these things is to clean and check the sort of the safety of the pipeline, to make sure that it's maintained. Holy crap, it's HAL. Does HAL stand for high as low? Right, yeah. So these things are sent through these pipelines all the fucking time. They have robot versions of them. There's ones that go on a chain, or get pressured down into there, or get pushed in and pulled out at certain where they detach them on land. And then there's the robot versions of them that have like rollers on them and propulsion, and they basically go through and they got sensors and they check the pressure and they clean the pipe. Smart pigs. There you go. And essentially attaching a bomb to one of these things with a timer, a pressure gauge, or a radio device to blow the fucking thing up would not be difficult at all. And as a matter of fact, it was interestingly enough, I have a place in my heart for every James Bond. I appreciate everything all of them brought to me. I don't have a favorite one. I don't need a fucking favorite one. Do you understand? I don't need James Bond to be one of those particular guys. I can be happy that all of them brought something cool and it was fun to watch them do their thing. Do you understand how this shit works? It's art. There are no firsts and lasts. There's only what you like. That's how art works. I don't need, there's no list of the, top 3. It doesn't work that way. So let me, hold on. Let me show you something else. Let's see. I think it's this one. Yeah. So this storyline has been in several Bond films. And let me show you. Several times. There's This one's and yeah, that's Roger Moore, I think. License to Pig. They end up in a lot of these things, but The World Is Not Enough is one of my favorites. I love the soundtrack. I have an undying crush on Sophie Marceau. It shall never pass. It will just always be there. Get used to the idea. Suck it up. And there's a big scene in The World Is Not Enough where he's in one of these cleaning rigs in this fucking thing. Let's see if it I don't want to get a copyright strike on this fucking thing, but hold on, quit it. So they go down there, they get in the thing, they're in this little thing, it's riding along, they're trying to stop it, there's bombing thing, and they got there's literally a bomb on the pig rolling through the fucking pipeline, and they get at this junction, it comes up, and then they blow it up, and they let it blow, they escape, then they go out a hatch, and then they let it blow, and everybody thinks they're dead. And that's not even fucking new. That's I love that movie. It's great. You can't kill me, James. You'll miss me. I never miss. It's awesome. And she's ridiculously sexy. So, and very talented and lovely. It's just ridiculous. Okay. So, not even a new idea, by the way. Not the first time it's been done. So, and there's been a whole lot of shenanigans around these pipelines already. Let me show you something okay, this is 2 months ago. Germany accuses Russia of power play as gas pipeline supply drops by half. The capacity for Nord Stream 1 dropped to 20% 2 months ago. Nord Stream 2 is not and has not been supplying oil and supplying gas to Europe. It doesn't. It's not. It's not functioning. It's full of gas, and it's just staying that way. Nothing's coming out the other end. So, the idea that there's any kind of intricacy to the supply going to Europe via Nord Stream now, because Germany and them are never going to take gas from that pipeline. They're going to get what little they need from Nord Stream 1. They're almost full up with their reserves for the winter. They won't need any more, and the transition will happen over the next spring and summer. They don't need it ever again. We are at peak oil and gas. Sorry, fuck you, goodbye. And anybody who is talking about this thing, I just want to hear, there's a couple of takes on these assholes talking about this, not the least of which is Laura Ingraham has Glenn Greenwald on, asks if Russia would sabotage its own pipeline. He asks in this. I'm curious to see if he actually blows it for Jimmy here. But I want to hear Jimmy's take on this nonsense.
April Becker ay banta sa ating mga karapatan. Sinuportahan niya ang overturning ng Roe v. Wade at inalis ang ating karapatan for abortion without exceptions for rape, incest, or to save her life. April Becker is too extreme at banta sa mga kababaihan ng Nevada.
Boy, that's a specific
Joe Biden warned that he was going to blow up the Nord Stream 2 pipeline.
No, he didn't. He said they can stop the pipeline. He didn't say he was going to blow it up. We don't have to fucking blow it up. He meant pressure on Germany. This has been floating around. This is the right-wing clip. It shouldn't be any surprise that Cowboy Jimmy, what is it with Jimmy and Glenn Beck both wearing clothes from their childhood? Honest to God. It's like they both, their idea of heaven is a wood post bed in an old attic bedroom with surrounded by a rocking horse and cowboy wallpaper.
Want to hear him say it? What happened? Come on.
Yeah, let's hear him say he's going to blow up Nord Stream.
Let me answer the first question first. If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
So he said he's going to.
Yeah, and they already had. It's already done. Hold on. You don't have to blow it up, fuckhead. It's not going anywhere. Hold on. Let's see. Germany, Nord Stream, stopped. U.S., whatever. Fucking months ago. February. The Germans were the co-sponsors of this fucking project. Germany freezes Nord Stream 2 gas project as Ukraine crisis deepens. Hitherto reluctant Germany halts certification process. Pipeline has been set to help ease energy crisis. Benchmark gas price jumps. Ukraine says Germany is showing moral leadership. Russia's Medvedev says welcome to $2,000, 2,000 euro gas. By the way, we'll get to that in a second too. It was never going to open. It was already corroding. It was just holding gas since fucking February. You couldn't insure it. Oh, God. And again, no one's surprised that this asshole has like the crayon take on this whole thing.
And the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which is the pipeline that was being built to take gas from Russia and bring it to Germany. So,
well, until Germany and the U.S. and the European Union and Ukraine stopped it because of what Russia did. I'd like to remind you that what stopped Nord Stream was the first part of what Biden said, which is Russia crossing the border with tanks.
He just said that they're going to blow that thing up.
No, he didn't
say the word blow it up.
Right.
He said we're going to stop the oil, the gas going through it.
How will you do that?
How will you do it?
Exactly. Since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control.
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
Well, how did they do it? They did it. Here's how they did it.
Again, no, that's not how they did it. It just because it's done doesn't mean the United States did it. I don't know. And now I know that goes against everything that Jimmy believes.
What do you think Germany is going to tell us no if we say we're blowing your thing up?
Hey, we're going to blow up your gas pipeline. You got no choice. Nord Stream.
They're not using the gas in it anymore, dummy.
So this is how they're referring to it in newspapers and stuff. They're saying
in newspapers and stuff like Al Jazeera, newspapers.
They're calling it a pipeline leak.
Into the ocean?
Well, they were on the 27th.
What?
Because it had just happened. They didn't get the seismic information about the explosions till after that. Al Jazeera is not lying. Al Jazeera is reporting on the gas venting in the Baltic Sea.
It is into the ocean?
It's on the bottom of the ocean.
Oh, so it's being shot into the... Oh,
so,
great.
Yeah.
Great.
So, a series of unusual leaks in two gas pipes. Really? It's unusual. This leak is unusual.
No, it isn't. The only thing unusual about them is the size. Here you go. Nord Stream 2 pipeline pressure collapses mysteriously overnight. Authorities in Germany are trying to establish what caused a sudden drop in pressure in the defunct Nord Stream 2, and defunct, by the way. There you go. This is Monday. This is the day before that other story. Defunct Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline, with a spokesman for its operator saying it could have been a leak. The pipeline has been one of the flashpoints in an escalating energy war. The Russia-owned pipeline, which was intended to double the volume of gas flowing from Vyborg. This is fun, too. Hold on. Let me make this a little bigger so I can show you guys this. This is from The Guardian, but the stats they put up are the important part. Let's... where is it down here? Here you go. So, the suspected leak did not have an immediate impact on gas trading amid the signs that Vladimir Putin's efforts to disrupt energy supplies in Europe this winter will be thwarted. Russia has cut off gas supplies to several countries and halted flows through Nord Stream 1 pipeline under the Baltic Sea, accusing Western sanctions of hindering operations. The price for British wholesale gas for delivery this weekend dropped nearly 24% to 160p a therm on Monday, with the price of delivery on Tuesday down 17% at 190p a therm. The one way you could jack the price up is to limit supply. They've got other pipelines. So if you ruin this one, then there's less flowing and you might be able to force people going someplace else. If it was the Nord Stream 1. It's the Nord Stream 2, which is hooked up to fucking nothing. How many are leaking in the U.S.? Not very many, quite frankly. It's the venting that's the issue. We don't capture as much as comes out. Like we've talked about the venting before and the flaring that you have to do to get rid of it. There's only a limited amount in this pipeline anyways. Once it's out, it's out. in theory, unless the Russians just leave the fucking tap open, which makes no fucking sense. But it's a long pipeline, so there's plenty of gas pressurized in there that will bubble for a day or two and then be gone. About pressure, maybe it was just a blowout. There's a very strong chance that this doesn't have to be an explosion. It could. The timing is fail rates. So one of the things that's also not a factor that most people aren't thinking about in this terms of like the damage, and they'll know when they go down there. They're going to send a sub down there to look at it, and the question will be: did it blow in or did it blow out? Is the wound in the thing? Is the explosion have around the edges of it? You'll be able to see whether it was struck by something or whether it blew up from the inside. My theory, they're gonna see it blowing open this way. That's my theory, and it's because there's one of two things. They blew it up on purpose as an escalation in the same way that they tried to do these Donetsk and Luhansk, referendums, and those failed. Nobody's buying it. Nobody's saying yes, that's Russian land and all that kind of shit. And then in terms of this is just another attempt to like they attacked us. And by attacking themselves. It's just silly. And the problem is the way that they're doing is so ham-handed if it wasn't just a massive failure. Because then again, you have this pipeline sitting idle, no service going to it. Most of the people that have been working on it have been in this fucking thing for 6 months, 7 months. And 6 months might just be the fucking fail rate on this thing if you don't maintain it. But if we'll see where he takes it, because his whole thing is this is going to be as sarcastic, like because the United States or Ukraine or the UK or fucking Denmark are denying it, that must mean we're guilty.
It's sad that it's probably not. They leak like nonstop all the time everywhere.
Yes. So here, I like what Jim Richards says. He says, I don't know who blew up the Nord Stream pipelines. Both of them.
Two separate sections of the same thing.
I do know that when solving a mystery, you look for motives. Russia has none.
They have many. They have a backed up, dead pipeline that is building up pressure back on their end. And they are either going to have to vent and flare that gas out, because the Germans aren't going to do it, on the mainland, or you just pop the fucking thing in the sea and let it vent out into the water, because it's in international waters. It's not your fucking responsibility. And it's not insured anyways, and you're not going to use it, so you just vent it there. It makes total sense. Just on a practical fucking sense, this makes it's totally logical. Because that gas has got to go somewhere. You have a highly pressurized gas container that is hundreds of miles long. And it opens on two ends. One's in your country, and the other is in Germany. And Germany has not completed the tail of it. So they shut the whole fucking thing down. So the pipe doesn't go up into Germany. It's basically capped at sea level, but it's in their territorial waters. You can't just blow the cap off on their end and go, fuck you, Germany, and use it as a flamethrower. And the only other option, if you want to start relieving the pressure out of this thing so it doesn't blow your fucking refinery to pieces, is to blow a hole in it in the middle. Just a practical, shitty, anti-environment, standard Russian dipshit thing to do. The other reason is because Gulf of Tonkin, anyone? Reichstag fire? How come every fucking thing is a CIA false flag, but the Russians are incapable of it? Get the fuck out of here.
They can turn off the gas when they want.
No, they can't. Even if they turn the fucking gas off, it's still in the fucking pipe, and it comes back this way.
Stop the gas. They didn't need to blow up their own gas pipeline. So that's why this doesn't make any...
Jimmy, where does the gas come from? Where does it come from? Where does the gas come from before it goes to the place that goes in the gas hole that goes into the Nord Stream thing that comes from the thing? Where does it come from?
Any sense when people are blaming Russia for doing this? Of course, they're just repeating propaganda coming directly from the State Department and Joe Biden and NATO.
Yes, all the people I actually trust and who aren't sending fucking rape squads into towns they know they're gonna lose just to traumatize people. The fuck out of here.
Russia did it?
Yeah.
Yes, they do, Kurt, because they did do it. Now, in all fairness, what you're looking at right now is a very confused man. A man incapable of forming cohesive thought out of the words that are entering his ear holes right now. This is it. You know that scene in Snatch where he talks about pulling a stupid face, but the pikey didn't pull a stupid face because he had plans to run the car over. Right. He's pulling a stupid face. He didn't see this coming at all.
Yes. Yeah.
How would that make any sense?
Like there's a fucking half dozen. They can escalate and say they were attacked. They can vent the gas into the sea instead of away from prime infrastructure. They have to, that refinery, that pumping station that sends it that way ain't going to be sending anything that way ever again. Once the Europe weans itself off this winter, and they're already there. Let me show hold on. Let me see if I can find the European gas reserves chart. Hold on. European gas reserves. Images. Stupid do. Let's see if we go back. Okay. There you go. Here's why. 88.2% of the European Union's gas storage is filled. The European Union is already at the point where they no longer need any of the gas coming from from Russia. They don't need any of it. Europe doesn't need it anymore. Would they like to top it off at 100%? Sure. Would they probably have to vent it once it hits 95%? Because it's not exactly like everybody has a prime-timed, there's no calculation precisely for all the tanks at all topped off pressure for everything in absolute. When it comes to gas pressure like this, there's a little wiggle room, country to country, nation to fucking nation. They've got enough gas to get through the winter. They're going to be fine. Here's the European Union's reliance on so this is the calendar from January coming around to December. This is our date right now. They're 88% on this one right here. Here's where they were when the war started. They were at about whatever this point is. I don't think they allow. Yeah, so the 24th, they had about 30% reserves right here. Right about the time the war broke out. There you go. Right about the time the attack happened. And then they went, oh, fuck. And there was a leveling out. And then they're like, we remember all the arguments about how we're going to deal with gas and didn't really start up. How long is this going to take? Is this really going to last? They started using their reserves rather than take from Russia at that point. And then they were like, okay, we need a strategy to get through the winter because this is going to come for a long time. And then they started filling their tanks, man. And over the course of the year, the amount of reserves they have filled out to the point where they're 88% right now. By the time winter comes around, and it's starting in some places already, they can start using some of those reserves, and the rest of it will be backed up by LNG supplies coming later from the United States and Qatar and other sources. The U.S. has no motivation to blow up the fucking Nord Stream. It's meaningless. It's useless. It's dead. The facility that pumps to it in Russia is worthless. They built this entire fucking thing as a pumping station on the end of Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2, and nobody's going to fucking use them again unless somebody snuffs Putin and the whole thing changes in an afternoon, which isn't going to happen. Because Russia's not going to back down. They're not leaving anytime soon. They want the whole fucking country. They're all lunatics. This is fucking crazy. So Europe's been just packing it in. Like, all right, we'll buy cheap gas till we fill up to here. And then once we get once they got over 80%, they're good because they still have more than 20% of their reserve needs coming from the United States and from Qatar. And then they'll eventually, they'll be opening up natural gas lines in the Black Sea off of Odessa once they clear the mines out and that kind of shit. There's like, what kind of graph is that? This is it's a circular calendar. Think of it as you're looking down on it spiraling out. So at the beginning of the year, it's here January 1st. They would build some up because they used it all. They burned through all of it. And then there were no reserves, essentially. There were around, but they didn't start really measuring it for these purposes. And then as the year clicks by, as we go January, February, March, April, May, June, right about here, they got fucking serious. And then June, July, August, you see the amount going up over time. It's a crazy chart. I like them. But that's how they chart out a bunch of these things. You can look at... they have each country in one of these kind of charts. It's really fucking fascinating. But this is why you can blow the fucking thing up. We don't care. Europe doesn't care. America doesn't care. What? Again, why would the U.S. blow up the pipeline since it is... The European Union has already decided they don't fucking trust Russia anyways. Even if Russia came up tomorrow and said, we're good guys again, they're going to switch to renewables, move away from this, open coal-firing plants until they can get their nuclear back online, and then they're going to switch to natural gas services from other places until the Ukrainian gas fields can get on their feet, and then that's fucking that. Nobody's going back. Yeah, this chart's easier to understand. But if you'll see here, this is the face of a man incapable of thinking past the ratio of French fries to ketchup in his fucking cardboard dish.
The U.S. has plenty. So Russia has none. They have no motives for doing this. They can.
Now they have lots of motives, not the least of which is that they can use it as an excuse. They blew up one of their own bases internally in their country because they couldn't move any of the ammo and stuff from there, so they blew it up and then tried to blame it on the Ukrainians. And the Ukrainians were like, "We didn't do that. That's where the smoking joke came from everywhere." But then again, they are fairly opaque, so it's hard to tell if how bad their fuck ups are.
Turn off the gas anytime they want.
The gas is already turned off. They throttled the Nord Stream 1 down to 20%. The European Union says we're not getting any more for it. They're turning it off on their end by the end of the year. They've already said they've got plenty and they're going to be fine. They might even be able to do it by November.
And the U.S. has plenty of motives. They
like what?
Can blame Putin. They can escalate the war.
Why do we have to escalate the war? First of all, blaming Putin is not our motive. We're not short of shit to hate Putin for. He's a fucking monster. Nobody is thinking, well, the Chechen rape squads are one thing, and of course rigging dead bodies with grenades and sending 65-year-old men into fucking battle with wooden guns to get their fucking faces blown off, and of course starving entire city blocks and that kind of stuff. But once you blow up a pipeline that no one's using, that's the last straw. Get the fuck out of here. Blame Putin. Finally, we get to blame Putin, guys. It's just what we... Operation Blame Putin is on. It's a go. Fucking like speedboats flying out of out of the back of giant yachts just with gunships on them and stuff. And like, we're go. We can blame him for something. Get the fuck out of here. Blame Putin. Escalate the war. We don't have to escalate the war. We don't. There's already an escalation. The Ukrainians are on the counteroffensive and they're doing fine. How would this escalate the war at all? That's the other thing. Like, based on fucking what? Look at the third one, though. Look at the third one. Watch Jimmy go off on this one. Look at this right here. Advance green agenda. Make EU dependent. Go from there. All right. So, total right-winger. This is like, a little bit of like, it couldn't help but like jack off some climate denial in there.
They can advance their green agenda.
Yeah, what are you talking about? I thought you were supposed to be like a super lefty. You're not for the quote green agenda? I don't understand that at all. Now you're on the side of big oil and gas? Why is he not stopped there? Why does he go, well, green agenda? I mean, I wouldn't go there, but blah, 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 blah. Making EU dependent, probably they're trying to do, like, why would you just take all of them? He just, like, gargling this dude's cum. It's amazing.
They can make the European Union dependent.
On what? On Qatari fucking natural gas? Oh, squirt, squirt, squirt. Like, this is just like a bukkake of idiocy all over Jimmy's face. I don't get this.
On American energy.
On American energy. Dude, we don't need to LNG shit and ship it across the sea. It's a waste of fucking time. We don't need that fucking market. We don't. This is not the time where you're like, oh, fucking sweet, bro. Fucking sweet, bro. We got all this natural gas. We'll make Europe dependent on us. Motherfucker, they're already going to be because Russia attacked. They're not buying it from just that. They're going to be dependent, if anything, on Black Sea, Ukrainian and Moldovan and maybe Turkish natural gas. They don't, why the fuck would we LNG shit across the sea? It's a waste of resources. It would set our climate goals back. How can you advance the green agenda while setting up an unnecessarily carbon heavy process in natural gas? Like, this is so fucking... Can you just tell me you don't know fucking shit about anything? Does this asshole read?
No, I'm going to withhold.
Look at him smiling like, who on our energy, because it's all about always like this is part of our big, he's in the trap, gentlemen. We tricked Putin into attacking Ukraine so we could sell liquefied natural gas in a really clunky form to so that, by the way, so that we can send military hardware to defend Ukraine so it finally gets its own freedom, reclaims Crimea, and then has a lock on natural gas in the fucking area. We're giving it to Ukraine, if anything else. LNG Across the Sea is a new Gordon Lightfoot album. I can't wait to hear it.
Judgment. I want to hear Bosch's take on it first.
It's actually too wild how blatant the U.S. was with this one. Both Sweden and Germany are like, oh, yeah, so a certain someone definitely sabotaged this. And everyone's got to act like they don't know who.
Russia. It's their fucking pipeline. And again, a pig dragging a fucking bomb. It's easy. You don't even have to send ships into the area.
Caitlin Johnstone says the way.
Oh, Caitlin Johnstone. Oh, really? Hold on. Let's see. Let me see if I can find. I'm not familiar with John. Let's see. Let's see if I can find this one. This is a good one. I need to hold on. Give me a second. I'm finding it. Hold on. Oh, I need a picture because somebody took a picture of it. Hold on. Let's see if I can. Hold on one second. There's gonna. I figured. Oh, I misspelled her name. Okay, hold on. Caitlin Johnson. Yeah, here it is. This is her. This is February 18th. I want you to promise, whoever she was responding to and a flame war online, I want you to promise me you'll completely revise your worldview and drastically change your media consumption habits when March gets here and the invasion still hasn't happened. You seem to be under the impression that Ukraine has any chance of stopping Putin from taking Kiev. You can only believe that if you're living in a self-reinforcing echo chamber. Putin has made no real attempt 9 hours later to take Kiev. He is, however, taking larger and larger swaths of the eastern part of the country. This moron has been so fucking wrong on everything. And Jimmy references it's like his Mary Magdalene.
West has blamed Russia for bad presidents, for Western racism.
The West has blamed Russia for bad presidents. You mean Trump? Okay. She's not saying Trump because she didn't want to anger those folks. I guess Western racism. I don't know why. Have we blamed Russia for like Derek Chauvin or something? For Western political divisions, that's the same thing for the bad presidents thing. For inflation, that's because of gas prices. For much every bad thing Western power structures are responsible for, but blaming Russia for attacks on Russian pipelines is probably going to take the cake. Oh yeah, it's probably not even. It probably didn't even happen. Probably didn't. Probably. I mean, promise me you'll change your media consumption habits and your worldview when the pipeline was never actually attacked, when it just blew up because it was shitty construction.
For Western political divisions, for inflation.
Does this guy just read? Is that what Jimmy's job is now? Is to read other people's tweets who are as misinformed or as big a prick as he is and go, huh? Is that the gig? Is that the sweet fucking money? But I mean, bought him a $2 million house, right?
For pretty much every bad thing Western power structures are responsible for. But blaming Russia for attacks on Russia's pipelines is probably going to take the cake.
And I think Russia took the cake also.
And they did. They bombed the cake.
It's so good. Yeah. So great.
So, do you know who that's got? A member of European Parliament. He says, "Thank you, USA."
Well, you're welcome.
Hold on. Radic. That's Radic Sikorsky. Yep, chairman. Bragatos, who was the one? Warsaw, Brussels. Hold on 1 second. This is the. So Lukashenko agreed to play. No. Undertake supply guys. I'm trying to find that "Thank You USA" one. I'm scrolling through. Did he take it out? Yeah, I think it wasn't that long ago. Hold on. Yeah, September 13th. I think this fucker scrubbed it for a different one. By the way, this guy is pro-Ukraine, by the way, in his tweets. This whole "Thank You USA" at 9:38 on September 27th. Yeah, I don't actually see it. Hold on. So this is this guy's Twitter feed, unless this is something else. This is September 16th, 18th, 25th, 26th, 26th, 27th, 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 14 hours ago. There's one joke in here. News just in, he retweeted this guy Warren Dunn's thing. Intact Russian passport floating in bubbles. That seems to be a 9/11 joke. Hard to see. Hold on, say whatever. Yeah, see, there you go. What's happened to the interesting tweet by him? Former Polish foreign minister, now Euro MP, married influencer. It seems to have been, yeah. So he deleted it. So they either told him to fuck off, or he, he recognized it's not a good look. So yeah, that's a deleted tweet.
Sir,
That got 42,000 likes. Here's the German lawmakers break Europe's silence on suspected Nord Stream pipeline saboteur to point the finger at Russia. So that this is how propaganda works. It doesn't.
Yes, this is how propaganda works. That's what you're doing, Jimmy. You're engaged in it. You're like, imagine a man sitting in front of pictures of the Reichstag going, does this look like a German fire to you? Look at those flames. Those are not German flames. These are not
matter how stupid it is. It doesn't matter how much it doesn't make sense. The United States.
Basically, and for the record, I would like to say all the reasoning I put forward on all fronts, from even the accidental part, is logical and makes sense. Much less the geostrategic and the war-related elements of this, and just the fact that Russia is in the business of fucking up its own shit for lols at this point. They could very well have just sent a bunch of drunk recruits down the tube. Either you go to Russia or you get in the fucking pipeline, Yuri. You know, that kind of stuff.
States got convinced by a moron, George Bush, that a country that didn't have a missile that could reach us was a threat to us. And we had to invade them. That's how, doesn't matter how dumb it is. If the military-industrial complex wants it, it's happening.
Well, then why aren't we still in Afghanistan?
And so that's what this is.
No, that's not what this is. What are we going to do? Send in fucking SEAL teams? Now the military-industrial, they're going to send in robot underwater drones to constantly patrol all underwater cabling and shit like that. Just let it float. And they're going to make a big watch. There's going to be a bill in fucking Congress and added to a bill that has to pass, or a continuing resolution that has to pass, that pays for underwater drones just so they can make money. Like, motherfucker, they blew their shit up.
You don't think she's bought by the military-industrial complex? Of course she is.
Yeah, look at her. It's a woman, okay, in a position of power. You think she got there from fucking merit? I mean, honestly, it's just the MIC's just got their fucking hand up her ass, puppeting her around. Women can't run shit. And again, if it wasn't for this article cut, which he doesn't, like, hold on. German lawmakers break silence. Hold on. Can we look at this fucking... Right here, what's on suspected. This is Business Insider. German lawmakers break European silence on suspected Nord Stream pipeline saboteur to point the finger at Russia. Hold on. Get out of here. Bring this up. Why is this page not... There you go. Shrink down, stupid. All right. It's got to fit in this one thing. This is the article itself. Two senior German lawmakers have pointed the finger at Russia over suspected sabotage of the Nord Stream. The leaking Russia to Europe pipelines are spewing natural gas into the Baltic Sea. Two senior German lawmakers have pointed the finger at Russia over the suspected sabotage of the Nord Stream natural gas pipelines. Roderick Kiesewetter, a government spokesman for crisis prevention, said in a tweet late Tuesday the attack was an act of sabotage by Russia to deter and threaten Europe. Mary Agnes Strack-Zimmermann, chairwoman of the Bundestag's Defense Committee, also named Russia in comments on the suspected attacks in the Redaktionsnetzwerk Deutschland news network. That doesn't make me feel nervous at all reading that. This is, European lawmakers previously left open the question about who the suspected Nord Stream saboteur would be. None have yet definitively blamed Russia, and Russia has denied it was the perpetrator. Sweden's Coast Guard released new footage of the Nord Stream leak. This is this right here. That's it. One giant, prolonged cow fart. The longer, more brutal Russian attack on Ukraine lasts, the greater the risk of unrestrained attacks. It cannot be ruled out that they will be directed by Russia in order to shake our markets. Yeah. No, and by the way, in that article, there's two people cited. The first guy that's cited is a guy. First person cited is a man. He didn't bring that fucker up at all. He grabbed a picture of this woman. Let's see. I want to make sure that is there an article where they double up German law? Is Yahoo News? Where'd he get this? Reuters. Yeah, so here's where he borrowed it from. He borrowed the picture from Reuters. Same Kate Duffy article. He picked this one. Roderick Keisletter was the first person to do it, though. But he went and posted that idea. But Jimmy liked this one better. Just saying. Just interesting.
This is my favorite. Kremlin dismisses stupid claims that Russia attacked Nord Stream. It is.
Yeah, well, I feel pwned. Do you guys feel pwned? Russia called something stupid that's obviously true.
This is stupid. Why would they attack their own goddamn pipeline?
Because it's a defunct pipeline. It's not going to work anymore. Germany's not going to use it anymore. And then they've got to vent gas some fucking place. So they can use it strategically and they can use it materially.
They could just turn off the spigot.
No, they can't. It won't remove the gas that's in the pipeline itself. They've already throttled the other one. And I love this spigot, like it's a fucking garden hose.
Here's Poland's former foreign minister, a sitting member of the European Parliament, is praising what he...
Yeah, so people are taking this guy's deleted tweet and using that as an example of him really thinking that way.
He suggests is a United States attack on part German-owned civilian infrastructure, which could condemn millions of poverty in a frigid winter.
No. Because no gas is going to Germany through Nord Stream 2. They don't have the attachment on this end to get it out. It's not built that far. They shut it the fuck down. Spigot, motherfucker.
Speechless.
Oh, good. Stay that way, dude.
Stay that way. That guy's on your side, dipshit. Kurt doesn't even know who he's rooting for in this. Which I guess is the normal, yeah.
Bilal, stick with that. Being speechless.
Stupid. He agrees with you. He's that, whoever the fuck is posting that, rando Twitter dude, is agreeing with Jimmy. Kurt, you stupid. Listen to him. And Jimmy doesn't know how to react to him because he just basically tried to dunk on the guy Jimmy was quoting verbatim.
So, again, this is how this works. And now, it doesn't matter if they're... So let me bring in Jackson. Jackson, and now it doesn't matter.
Yes, Jackson is the LaRouchian he's been bringing on. If
there's a peace treaty, because they can't send the gas anyway. They blew up the pipelines. Yeah, by the way, those of you that were watching yesterday, Philip Ittner was on, and he was talking to one of his guys in Ukraine, and there was some thinking that there are doves and hawks in Russia right now, and the doves were thinking they could offer turning Nord Stream back on and kind of, moving out of the held areas, maybe keeping part of Luhansk and Donetsk, maybe negotiating over Crimea and use of it and that kind of shit. And if we turn the gas, maybe the rest of the world will be nice to us. And that the Hawks blew it up because they didn't want that as an option. So now it doesn't. So now the United States is like, hey, peace might break out. People are starting to catch on to this. Even Chris Hayes tweeted out that we should stop sending weapons to Ukraine. So people are starting to catch on. And so what did they do? They blew up the fucking pipeline. No, they did not. The United States did this. Go ahead. No, they did not. Jackson. Yeah, Jackson, say what I was saying and then say it in a way that Kurt misunderstands that you're saying what I said and tells you to shut the fuck up.
10 days before they blew up these pipelines, Putin went to European officials and told them, and it was during a time in which he went to European officials, meeting with also Turkish and Saudi officials, and European officials. You mean because Erdogan was there? They were discussing potentially negotiating a peace deal with Ukraine again. This was no, they weren't. About a week and a half ago, and no, they weren't. He told.
Oh, it's happening again.
Oh, no. Yeah. I think it's probably Elon Musk. I mean, he's using Starlink to help the Ukrainians, so he's probably interfering with your broadcast, Jimmy.
The Nord Stream 2 back operating.
It was never operating.
Is press the button in essentially removing the sanctions. Remove the sanctions, stop the proxy war, and Nord Stream 2 will be operating again. There's no reason whatsoever.
Oh, this is not going to work today.
No, it's not. It isn't. And you know what? He's saying the dumb talking points. You're saying the dumb talking points. He's saying, and Kurt's not going to understand either of you. So I mean, it's best just you do it, Jimmy. You can do it. We believe you don't have to bring in anybody else. You can say your piece. Explain it.
Massive piece of leverage on Europe, that being gas flow into Europe through the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines, would destroy the infrastructure that could potentially be used to leverage that gas flow in the future. It makes no sense whatsoever. And there's a ton of information that suggests that the U.S., of course, is responsible for it.
Yes, there's a ton of information, like you saying it, me saying it, and Caitlin Johnstone saying it, and rando fucking Twitter dudes who agree, you know, the dorks out there saying it. That's tons of information
for it. I'm sure you have some of those details, but I mean, it's crazy.
I'm sure you have some of those details. No, he doesn't. Don't, you can't do that to Jimmy. You can't go, I'm sure you have some of those details. Yeah, Kurt's in charge of them.
Crazy. And if anyone doesn't understand why the United States would do this, I suggest you reflect in history back to 1519 when Cortez landed.
Yes. Yeah. Biden was alive then, so he remembers how they pulled this off. 1519. What the fuck are you talking about? Remember when Cortez attacked the pipeline?
In the New World. And when arriving,
oh, I wish I had a time machine and I could go back and upgrade his internet.
On arrival, he burned up all their ships. He burned up their ships because he wanted to send a message that there's no turning back. And that's the message that the United States just sent to Europe. There's no turning back. You have to commit 100% to this proxy war and all the anti-Russia policies that we're putting forward.
Anti-Russia. That's what it is. We're not anti-invading force. We're anti-Russia. It's the language. It looks weird when it's written. It sounds like English backwards, which my Southern Christian upbringing told me that if you speak backwards, that's Satanism. I mean, the whole country speaks in backwards masking, like a heavy metal album that praise Satan, praise Satan, right? We're so anti-Russia. We didn't give a fuck about Russia. Nobody cared. No one cares. No one gave a shit about Russia. The only problem you have with them is when they are violent. None of us are like, wow, if only we could get in there in Moscow and really put up some really sweet buildings. That's some prime real estate. I'd like to hang out with those folks. Get the fuck out of here.
That is exactly what this is.
Totally. It is. It so is. You're so right, and I'm so right. We're both so right. Sorry. Jimmy it's like they're passing off their insecurity to each other. So the minute Jimmy's like, I know what's going on, his face goes, I don't know what's going on.
But maybe you haven't considered this.
Oh boy. Kurt's piping in. This is going to get good. Just when you thought this school bus was hitting the guardrails and teetering over the edge of the cliff, here comes Kurt running to the front to grab hold of the wheel.
Putin is a madman.
You want to hear this?
Putin is a madman. That was his addition.
This is back in 2014. This is Condoleezza
Yeah, back when Yanukovych ran things, the Russian sock puppet.
Rice in 2014. You ready for this?
Oh, I'm ready for it.
Do you think Germany's been as aggressive as they should be?
I'm quite an admirer of Chancellor Merkel, and I heard her statement when she was with President Obama in Washington. I thought it was a very good statement. But now we need to have tougher sanctions, and I'm afraid at some point this is going to probably have to involve oil and gas. The Russian economy is vulnerable. 80% of Russian exports are in oil, gas, and minerals. People say, well, the Europeans will run out of energy. Well, the Russians will run out of cash before the Europeans run out of energy. And I understand that
Look at this pipe up. Like, no, they didn't. I don't know if she knows this, but Russia's fucking, they're doing great. They've got Stars Coffee now, where Starbucks used to be. There's McDonald's is now called, if you translate it from Russian, Tasty, period. I'm sorry. I'm not eating at a restaurant called Tasty, period. It's very weird. And I'm not even squeamish. But Tasty, period is a really fucking dumb name for a fast food place. Especially when you're just faking McDonald's. But hang on a second. This is a Russian economist. This statement came out from this guy. The Russian economy will die by winter because of the catastrophic consequences of the military mobilization. A top Russian economist. It's not somebody. No, it's not a Deutsche Bank guy who works for the EU. He's a bastard people with their bastard faces. In the 7 months, I can't read, like, they don't have the whole thing. God damn it. You got to get I'm not getting a subscription to every goddamn paper that comes up. In the 7 months since Russia invaded Ukraine, some have argued the international sanctions levied against Russia weren't strong enough as Russians continued to travel, shop, party, and generally led a normal life. And then, hold on one second. Until that dude was like, look at the dude's face. Hold on. Look at this guy's face. He's like, I was just working at Tasty, period. And this guy came up to me and he said, just get on the fucking bus. And I was like, I got a shift tomorrow. He's like, look, Tasty, period doesn't need you. The motherland, the fatherland needs you. And he's like, get on the Tasty bus, you asshole. And I was like, can I at least use a sledgehammer to break my arm? Get in the fucking bus. I think, yeah, who probably has it up? Yeah. Yeah, same article in dozens of places. In the 7 months since Russia invaded Ukraine, some have argued that the international sanctions levied against Russia weren't strong enough as Russians continue to travel, shop, party, and generally lead a normal life. Now, an action by Russian President Vladimir Putin could be the catalyst that brings the war home to Russians and plunges the economy into a real collapse. Last week, Putin announced a partial mobilization, Russia's first mobilization decree since World War II, ordering 300,000 able-bodied men and a couple 100,000 not so able-bodied, it turns out, between 18 and 30. Really? Really? 18 and 30. Hold on. 18 and 30. There'll be this year. There's gonna be a picture for the third two, and here we go. There's gonna be. Here you go. Hold on. Get up here, you bastard. There you go. Russia drafted an old man with diabetes, a 17-year-old, and people with no training to fight in Ukraine, reports say, a sign of desperation. I wonder if they have the pictures of the dudes. 26-year-old PhD student and lecturer at a prominent Russian university told BBC this week that two men turned up, no thanks, at his house to draft him despite his student status. Student identified as Sergei told the BBC he was confused by the call because he has no military experience. A 63-year-old man from Volgograd region was also drafted as part of the mobilization. The independent Russian news site The Insider reported the outlet has no relation to The Insider. It's another insider inside somebody else, inside another her, not her, but the other her. The man identified as Yermolev has second-degree diabetes and a brain condition known as cerebral ischemia. He had previously served in the army, and he's retired. On Thursday, he was still summoned to a medical examination center where he was told by the doctors that he was fit to go to the front. Look at Jimmy's fucking stupid face.
It's uncomfortable to have an effect on business ties in this way. But this is one of...
I love he's like, yeah, they're talking about Russia's basically a gas station with nukes, and she's talking about gas, and that's the big thinkers are coming out.
Of the few instruments that we have over the long run, you simply want to change the structure of energy dependence. You want to depend more on the North American energy platform, the tremendous bounty of oil and gas that we're finding in North America. You want to have pipelines that don't go through Ukraine and Russia. For years, we've tried to get the Europeans to be interested in different pipeline routes. It's time to do that.
She means Kazakhstan, by the way.
And so some of this is simply acting and acting.
That was nice of Putin to help out by bombing his own pipes.
Biden didn't deliver a $15 minimum wage, but he did blow up a pipeline that provides Europe with natural gas.
From an account called Defund Ukraine, from Dr. Fishbones on Twitter. Good old Dr. Fishbones. Let's see what... hold on. These are... I'm curious, interestingly enough, Jimmy chooses some of these like regular accounts all the time. Fishbonesblog.com. Let's go. Republicans believe government is useless and Democrats prove it. When the people lead, the leaders follow. Force the vote. He was one of the force the vote people. Let's see. Open link in new tab with the... Democratic leaders praise Beto O'Rourke and humiliating loss. Yeah, so here's the kind of stuff that Dr. Fishbones posts. Democratic leaders praise Beto O'Rourke's humiliating loss in Texas governor's race. From JFK to Deval Patrick, the catastrophic drop-off in quality in presidential candidates from Massachusetts. All right. Yeah, making fun of Elizabeth Warren. I don't know why slamming Deval Patrick, whatever. Would you two please stop? Like anti-U2 stuff, which is about time, isn't it? An entire article slamming Ariana Huffington's success. You know, because when women start papers, I mean, especially if you can't agree with them 100% of the time. Do we freeze? We froze? What happened? Uh-oh, am I getting attacked? Did I get attacked too? Is everybody getting attacked? What's happening? We're all right? I moved it over. I'm fine. All right. I'm fine. Okay, good. Thanks.
Does this sound like, in Caddyshack when Judge Smale's like, I've sent boys your age to the gas chamber. Didn't want to do it. Felt I owed it to him. I hear that over and over. I hear that over and over again in every single one of these things is that phrase. Madeleine Albright, was it worth it to kill all those kids? Didn't want to do it, felt we owed it to them.
Yeah.
They're all Judge Smales.
Whoever they are in this particular situation. By the way, we're talking about an explosion on a gas pipeline.
Breaking. Germany says attack on Nord Stream pipeline has triggered NATO Article 5, but it's complicated since it was by the United States.
Yeah, this is Reuters pitchbot satire. Yeah, it's again, this is Jimmy Dore show, and he's a comedian, so he farms jokes from other fucking people. I was just talking last night with Ginger and a couple of the lovely folks at the show last night about how a guy who was there was like asking me how many voices I do because he just like threw a thing at me and wanted me to do Schwarzenegger or something. So I just did some random as hell. But since I was improvising, I was like, okay, yeah. And he asked me how many I do. And I was like, a lot. And I went, but I have rules about it because like one of my pet peeves when I was coming up as a comic was guys who would do Pee Wee Herman. Did you ever see a stand-up comedian from the late 80s, especially doing Pee Wee Herman on stage? And I'm like, motherfucker, Paul Rubens doesn't sound like that. He created that character. You're just stealing. That's theft. He made that character. There's not a real Pee Wee Herman out there, dumb fuck. And just because you can do that guy's character doesn't mean you get to points for being fucking funny. It was like it just aggravated. It was one of those like have your cake and eat it too. Like make fun of Pee Wee Herman while doing Pee Wee Herman and stealing the response gag, which is how he performs. It just drives me fucking crazy when people do that shit. And say what you will about like Gilbert Gottfried, but he was mocking Jerry Seinfeld when he would do them, and he was mocking Andrew Dice Clay. He would do them really well, but he was making fun of them specifically. All right. Anyways, so same shit here. Jimmy's just farming jokes off fucking Twitter.
Now, this is not really from Reuters, but this is a joke, but that's a good joke. 52,000 likes.
And that's how you know a good joke.
So I'm going to guess NATO Article 5 is the one that says if somebody attacks a NATO state that you're attacking all of us.
Yes, that's what that means.
And so
that joke did not trigger that for real.
We all have to go to war now with that. I think, is that what Article 5 is, Jackson?
Oh my God, you have to ask? We just went through the whole point about Trump not living up to Article 5 and going, no, I wouldn't come to your defense and all that shit. Like, you don't know that stuff off the top of your fucking dome? What else does this asshole do for a living? My flight is at midnight tonight, and I will land at 5 o'clock in the morning in Dallas, Texas. I will go straight to a radio station and promote the Nerd Halen gig tomorrow night. And then I will go to the gym and then have some breakfast, meet the guys, get their shit, take them to sound check, have an insanely long day, do a show, and then we're driving to fucking driving to Austin, rather, after the show. And then I've got radio in the morning, and then I've got a Nerd Halen show. We're doing a wedding on Saturday night. And then on Sunday, we've got another one in Austin, and then we fly back on Monday. And I can remember what the fuck Article 5 is about. Jesus Christ. Do you need some more crayons?
You kind of broke up there for me, but
yeah, just nod.
Article 5, this would essentially be the United States triggering our.
Oh my God. It's worth it just to watch this clip, just to watch him kind of grind on about this shit.
We can't do this today.
It's just like, this is why Jimmy ended up on TYT, because he and Cenk have the like zero patience for life gene. Both of them are just entitled pricks. We can't have this today. Not today. Not.
Okay, so we're fucked today with our internet, man. It keeps freezing on us left and right. So, he
was actually like, and the timing on this is perfect because he freed up. You could see him moving in that moment.
Article 5, Jackson. It's that's the art.
Jesus Christ! It's from a joke. Nobody cares. It's not true.
That means like if you attack one NATO country, that it's like you're attacking all the NATO countries, right? That's what Article 5 is. And if someone attacks a NATO country, now they all have to go to war with that.
Yes, that's the essence of the fucking joke. Yes, someone please get Jimmy a walker so that they can walk him through this fucking joke. Get him a fresh set of tennis balls on this motherfucker so that we can belabor this single tweet. And God damn it. It's like, does he need a rubber mallet?
Country, is that what Article 5 is?
Fuck, man. Are you filling in?
Yeah, you broke up, but I think that was the gist.
Look how he's doing it. I didn't realize Jimmy did the Roger Stone coat jaw thing when he got mad.
It's Article 5.
Is it? Hold on. Kurt jumped in. I missed that.
Country, is that what Article 5 is?
Yeah, you broke up, but I think that was the gist.
What's Article 5?
The United Nations Security Council.
Yeah, we can read that. Fucking still gotta hide this asshole.
So it's going to convene at the request of the Russia to discuss damage
at the request of the Russia
to 2 Russian gas pipelines to Europe that has caused gas. So they're going to have a National Security Council meeting over this. Again, the United States, we are the gangster. We're the...
We didn't do this. Again, apropos of fucking nothing. He's just assigning blame right now. You are watching confirmation bias hatch out of an egg like a scene in the beginning of Jurassic Park.
Terrorists We're the world's terrorists. We're the world's gangster. Putin can't hold a fucking candle to the United States gangsterism.
Oh my God, I just realized maybe.
Oh boy. Does the miserable liberal have like a little sign she holds up when Papa gets a little too repetitive and makes Kurt jump in, or does he just have terrible timing too?
Jimmy Dore is attacking the Dore Stream pipeline himself.
Oh.
Hey, Russian spy whales shine spotlight on military-grade animals. Look, Russian spy. That's what the Russians.
Yeah, how do you know one of their Russian spy whales didn't do it?
That's right. Maybe a Russian spy whale.
That's how
did
evil
it.
they are.
So this is way more horrible than I think people in the United States realize.
Yeah, it's way more horrible. I mean, the gas will vent out of the pipe in a matter of a couple of days, and that'll be that. It won't even be the biggest natural gas pipeline leak in the last decade.
That's what this means.
It's we want it to mean that. It's like, can you imagine being in charge of promoting the Reichstag fire, and everybody just brings buckets of water and goes, I gotta go to work after this. We'll all just put it out. It's like, no, you don't understand. Reichstag, it's the Reichstag is on fire. They did this. I don't think so. I mean, and we should just put the fire out. Don't just put the fire out. It's a thing. We should attack them. I gotta go. No, I got dinner and tickets to a movie.
So stupid that
he's literally, they're trying to gin up this into some, like, it's like they all got the memo or the telegram message to like push this, and nobody's buying it. Nobody gives a fuck.
I see the trick.
It's a dead pipeline.
Like I would have to reread it because I would.
Yeah, I don't doubt Kurt has to reread a lot of things. And it's just as futile the fifth time.
I'd be like, oh, that's not what that said. And I just move on with my, because it's that blatant and stupid.
What is?
That
we don't know either.
Russia did that to their own pipeline that they could turn off. So it's almost like kind of perfect in a way. Because you read it like, your brain's like that. I was like shocked at the beginning when you said it.
Yes, we saw.
This.
Yes, Sid, go ahead.
Screws Europe.
This screws Europe.
This win.
Because Nord Stream 2, Nord Stream 1, which was down to 20%, and Nord Stream 2, which was never open and doesn't have a spigot on the European end, is not going to function.
Fucking hard. And they're just doing it. But go ahead.
It does screw them, but also it just so happened to magically take place on the same day that the Baltic pipeline, which runs through, I think it's like Norway, Denmark, Poland, was set up and established and finalized. So very interesting timing there.
You can't bring that up, dipshit, because it throws a fucking monkey wrench in this whole thing. This happened right next to the Baltic, like the Baltic territory, the Baltic Sea, the Danish territory in the Baltic Sea. So he can't. He's been telling you for the last fucking 11 minutes and 53 seconds that America did this, and now so that we can sell them LNG, and then motherfucker, there's another pipeline there.
And
don't get like that. Blah, blah, blah. You're screwing up the. You can't have. Oh God.
The U.S. knows exactly what they're doing, and
we're apparently helping the Danes gas market.
You know what the U.S. is doing? They led a U.S. Navy ship detachment of assault ships into this Baltic Sea region, just 30 miles away from the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipeline explosions, just a few days.
Okay, I can't take this anymore.
Navy fleet that was
he's reading this off of a piece of paper, off of his talking points.
On board, which focuses on warfare, Central Pacific naval undersea warfare operations.
They all focus on that.
So this group was on board the assault ship, and they were
this specific group. They were all there to watch. watch the depth charge blow it up.
They were soaring very close to these two pipelines.
Yeah, and there were Russian ships very close to them as well. And
I think we know exactly what happened.
yeah, we totally do, bro. We don't even need to look. Stop. Don't even read. From this point forward, don't read anything but Caitlin Johnstone's fucking tweets.
It's as clear as day.
Jimmy just checked the app to make sure that the internet bill was paid. That's what he did. He's like, what the fuck is with it today? Whatever. Is there an outage? Did we not pay the bill? Oh, God damn it. I had it on auto pay and that card never works.
Oh, and the last thing I'll say is, yeah, it's not just going to screw them for this winter. They're now, German authorities, German intelligence is saying that these pipelines are potentially irreparable.
Irreparable.
Yes. Yes, that they're like, well, here's an article by Al Jazeera. Depending on the scale of the damage, the leaks could even mean a permanent closure of both lines, Nord Stream 1 and 2.
Well, I got to give, I suppose it was the United States with James Bond credit. When we do it, it stays done. This couldn't have been Russians doing. It actually worked.
Yeah.
So I said at the beginning of this, it might sound crazy, but it looks like the United States and NATO are doing this because they want to sell more energy to Europe, and Russia is currently now providing 40% of Europeans' energy. And the United States...
Not anymore.
Gas companies, they want part of that. And that's exactly what this is. That's exactly what's happening. Isn't that...
They had that. Russia was using... American companies, Exxon and all these other companies were in charge of these fucking things. Ugh.
What's happening, Jackson?
That and it's...
that and it... See, I can't do Bobcat now after that lecture I did, but I don't do it on stage. I just do it interpersonally, and we're friends. We're hanging out.
To negotiate.
He's just, God damn it. This is too much. These fucking people. Now, you guys have seen my show, Cadaver, technologically so many fucking times. So many issues with guests and without guests. Have you ever seen me mad like this? Have you ever? And this dude makes fucking bank. He's a multimillionaire now because of this stream. Because of his show. Why is Jimmy worried about the pipeline? Captain Cheeto is a great question. Jimmy's worried about the pipeline explosion because people don't give a fuck about the pipeline explosion. And it's supposed to be something that he can, that will set off some big thing. And it's not going to.
Negotiate with Russia.
Say it again.
It's going to do exactly what you just said and also stop any efforts that may have been underway.
None were.
That the Saudis and the Turks were talking about.
None were.
Insofar as the Europeans negotiating an end to this war in Ukraine with Russia.
Oh, good. We can't send Boris again, so we got to... Mm-hmm. Do they send Boris in scuba gear to the bottom?
Yeah, Kurt, wrong guy. Boris is actually on the side that Jimmy's on in this. Fuck me. Like, I don't smoke weed. Do different strains make you different kinds of dumb? Are there certain ones where like, well, that one really tightens my thought process up and it works like an ADD drug, and other ones are like, I can only see Fruit Loops. Everyone's face looks like they're made out of Fruit Loops. I don't even know how to live like this. Is that what happens? Is that what's happening to fucking Kurt right now? Because you could get a contact buzz off this fucking show right now.
I initially thought maybe he was on his post, PM vacation and he did a belly flop from the 5th floor of his yacht. That's what exploded it. I was wrong.
Virginia Beach.
By the way, that's, I think, a reference to the multitude of dead Russians who've been murdered or have done themselves in. Random as shit. All right. So let's see. By the way, you're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. Somebody give me a hard out at 6:00 my time in a half an hour because I got a plane to catch tonight. Hal, you don't have hemorrhoids? No, I do not. I don't. I'm not ruling them out later in life. I feel like you should try everything, but not currently. Thanks for the question, though. I'm glad you care. That's important. Thank you. I have a hard out because I gotta put my rig together of some stuff and take it with me and for Nerd Halen shows and stuff. So it takes a moment. So thank you. All right, let's cut to. This is Laura Ingraham, who has, you're not familiar with her, but she is Laura Ingraham. And she can tell it like it is. This is, I don't know what she dovetails into on this, and what leads international freak out. Okay, but then the pipeline thing.
First, the democratically elected leader of Italy led to these cries of fascism from the deep state.
The deep state? The deep state? Is she just like flip-flopping deep state and Twitter in her head?
And the bureaucratic elite.
The bureaucratic elite. Oh, duh. So much fascism. Ew. Oh, Charles, if I may, hold on. Charles, we have, I don't know if you've noticed this, the Italian PM, not only is she a lady, but she's also, she's got sort of, what's that old Italian thing with the capital F that they used to, with the fat guy with the jowls who would always hold his face up to try and make his neck seem, I don't know, human. What was it called? Machismo? Fascism? I don't remember. Anyway, fascism, that's what it was. Now I remember. And she sounds, if you don't, this is a picture, if you haven't seen her before, she actually, if you know, she's actually a faith healer some of the times. I've heard this. Anyways. A terrible, terrible thing. Absolute fascism taking over Italy in our time, in present year, no less. Yes. This is me freaking out, dear. Yes. This is how freaked out I get. This is my inside. I calm down. Inside, I'm a complete disaster. I'm a mess. Yes, I'm a fiddle faddle of broken glass and ribbons. Yes, but I'm holding it together for the family. Yes. Anyways, terrible fascism returning. Yes, he said something about families being important. It's just grotesque.
All over the other cables.
Whose cable? There's nothing on my cable, I assure you. I have it checked quarterly.
The howls were so just out there that Meloni's 2019 speech on the family, the importance of the family.
Yes, she focused on the family at some point, I think. So right.
Was actually removed from YouTube earlier today.
Not what? Oh, dear God. Permanently scrubbed from YouTube. It's about time. They finally, I guess they got my message at YouTube headquarters, you know. I had to call them at their UN office down in the basement. Yes. I got directions from a lovely man from Minnesota. Bald fellow, old wrestler. He was in Predator. I don't remember his name. Anyways, he was lovely. Gave me directions. And so I went that person. I was like, you must take this woman's speech down and never let it go back. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. It's been up since 2019 and it must be gone.
Now, it's since been restored to you.
God damn it! I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm barely holding it together here. What does she mean? I go all the way down there. What do you mean it's back up in the same day? Terrible.
YouTube, they claim it was just an unfortunate error. Okay. And then there's...
all errors are unfortunate, or they be on purpose.
Something happening in the Baltic, right? Well, let's play out two indisputable facts.
Okay.
Number one, experts agree that only a government could have blown the Nord Stream pipeline.
You're... Glenn Greenwald would beg to differ. All right. Be an adult. God damn it.
It couldn't have set up the explosions. Number two, the destruction represents a major setback to Russia.
I'm sorry, Josh. Be careful. Don't slip and fall. Don't bend over for the soap.
Asking Europe to open the pipeline.
No. No, they weren't. Wrong pipeline.
Of course, what was remarkable is that in the day following this catastrophic and potentially escalating move.
Potentially escalating. It's been a day. Been a couple days now. Terribly, this is escalating. It's just the escalation. It's just it's not. Why is this not fucking escalating? Get me some guests on here who can escalate this motherfucker.
Was the near total silence from the United States, EU and NATO officials silence. That was until late today.
Well, that's not fair. They were snickering. Like, do you guys know what happened to the pipeline? No. What do you mean? Why are you asking? What? What pipeline? In the Baltic Sea, the Nord Stream. I don't know. Just the fuck up. I don't know. Hold on 1 second. I gotta call. Yeah. She's asking about the price. Yeah. I can't. I'll fucking call you back. All right. Cool. Yeah. DEFCON 1. Shut up.
A military official who refused to go on the record, of course.
Well, yeah. Because of you, not because of what he was saying.
Said not only there was no American involvement, but that there's increasing evidence that this was a sophisticated attack, adding that European allies say that the suspicion and likely culprit is Russia.
Yeah.
Joining me now, independent journalist Glenn Greenwald.
And former pornographer who had the nom de porn of Dommenherren or Domherren. Like he would dress up in like German Nazi-esque leather outfits and direct, and that was his nickname, Domherren. I'm not kidding. Go look up Glenn Greenwald's porn history. Hey, I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. I just think that should be brought up in front of Laura at every guest meeting. And it should be on tape. You still want to have him on?
Whose work you will soon find on Rumble.
What a shock. On Rumble? Not on Rumble. Oh my God. All the cool kids are going there. Is he going to be sitting on Russell Brand's lap?
Glenn, that was a lot there, but your thoughts on this idea? It's been germinating for a few days.
And by the way, I noticed you're broadcasting from your view over the poor areas in Brazil.
Now that Russia might have sabotaged its own inflow of money from the pipeline, blow it up.
Don't set him up. You can't, Your Honor, objection, leading the witness.
Up to play, I guess, four-dimensional chess.
How many things have been blamed on Russia over the past 5 or 6 years by the Western media, by the EU, by neoliberals and deep state operatives?
And me. Don't leave me out.
It turned out to be completely false. They even invented a conspiracy theory. You probably remember that Russia had some super secret hypersonic weapon that was causing brain damage in American.
No, the Havana syndrome. Hold on. The question wasn't whether it exists or who did it. Hold on. There you go. Let's see. Yeah, let's go back all the way to. Here's BBC 2021. Yeah. Whoops, here you go. Havana syndrome and the mystery of the microwaves. Piercing squeals, weird stuff happened to your head, making you. First time it happened was in Cuba in 2016. First cases were CIA officers, which meant they were kept secret, but eventually word got out and anxiety spread. 26 personnel family members would report a wide variety of symptoms. There were whispers that some colleagues thought sufferers were crazy and that it was all in the mind. 5 years on, reports now number in the hundreds. And the BBC has been told span every continent, leaving a real impact on the U.S.'s ability to operate overseas. Uncovering the truth now has become a top U.S. national security priority. Hard evidence has been elusive, making the syndrome a battleground for competing theories. Some see it as a psychological illness, others as a secret weapon, but a growing trail of evidence is focused on microwaves as the likely culprit. Let's see, initially a speculation the Cuban government did it with a sonic weapon. Recently, another possibility from the dark recesses of the Cold War, and place where science was. James Lynn, a professor at University of Illinois, read the first reports. Havana immediately suspected microwaves were responsible. World War II, they did this, blah, blah, blah. there was an idea that the Russians were doing it, that the Chinese were doing it, that the Saudis were doing it, that the Cubans did it themselves. There was no this like Vladimir Putin is shooting people with a space ray.
Diplomats that nobody had ever heard of before, and it turned out to be debunked even by the CIA.
Well, why would the CIA debunk a... Never mind.
Why would Russia explode their own pipeline
rather than venting the gas on their own soil? Because it's backed up and it's not going out the German side. That's why. And they can also use it geostrategically. Kill two birds with one stone. Kill two pipelines with one bomb.
That gives them enormous amounts of leverage. They can turn off that pipeline at
it's not on
any time that they want, which gives them exactly the power that they most want. I don't know who did this, but what I do know is what you said, that a state could only do this, but also the U.S. has been obsessed.
Dr. Evil could have pulled this off, and I think there's enough. The Wagner Group could have pulled this off. That's not a state, but the Blackwater could have been hired. The groups that could have been hired to do this
for years, going back to the Bush administration, with trying to bully and coerce and persuade the Europeans not to buy natural gas from Moscow, but to instead buy it from the United States. Donald Trump, while he was being called a Putin asset or blackmailed by the Kremlin,
he's going to bring up the Germany white flag story,
was one of the leaders in badgering the Germans.
Leaders. Look, every time they went and met with the European leaders, his own generals were saying, if we don't get them off of Russian gas, they're going to have to wave the right flag when the Russians finally do what we know they're going to do eventually. They're going to be fucked. They're going to be the problem in this situation. And he just like leverage over her.
Saying, we pay you for your defense. You should be buying natural gas from us. And now suddenly the pipeline blows up.
In an area where they'll be buying it from fucking Denmark.
In the middle of this war. And we're going to blame Russia for that. The country that has the least interest in doing it.
No, they have the single most obvious, which is vent the gas in international waters away from their own coast and their own facilities, rather than try to vent it out that way because they've lost technicians because they've sent all their able-bodied men to the fucking front.
Yeah, the leverage that they have with that pipe.
Have you seen how these guys like to smoke around munitions? You want these motherfuckers there? We're like, what are we doing today, Diori? We're letting all the gas that's trapped in Nord Stream 2 out. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. So is this the lever? Fuck off.
Pipeline is huge, as you said. And I know, Glenn, you're not going to be surprised to hear this analysis from the former CIA director, Brennan, today.
These pipelines are only in about 200 feet or so of water, and Russia does have an undersea capability that would easily lay explosive devices by those pipelines. I think this is clearly an act of sabotage of some sort, and Russia is certainly the most likely suspect.
Hey, Glenn, what has John Brennan actually gotten right in his career? Let's just start with that. What has he gotten right about China, about the espionage threats from China, all the things that happened in Iraq, Afghanistan that they did not know, did not predict? I mean, all of this.
Yeah, I mean, John Brennan was the leader of the CIA during the Obama years, and prior to that, he was a high-ranking official in the CIA during the Bush years, and that was nothing but one disaster after the next. John.
Yeah, except that doesn't mean he's wrong here.
Brennan is a trained liar. He's a trained disinformation agent.
So are you, Glenn.
Even though he now works in various media outlets like CNN and for NBC, where, the CIA.
See how, by the way, I want to point out, this is like stock footage, the Baltic Sea file, I guess, of the other pipeline, or that's supposed to be Nord Stream, or they're just grabbing pipeline footage, whatever the fuck. See this dude right here in the heat suit welding? If this is the Russian pipeline, that guy has already been sent to war. Thank you so much, Spicy Dragon.
They used to work hard to figure out how to clandestinely infiltrate media outlets. Now they just do it out in the open. But, John Brennan and the CIA is what...
But then if you know he's from the CIA, you can take it with a grain of salt because you know that. That's the good part of them being out in the open.
Invented the hoax of Russiagate. They're the ones that...
Russiagate. Anybody who says Russiagate is bought in on... Trump was just an innocent victim. This is terrible. There's nothing there. Also, no one should ever release the grand jury testimony from the Mueller investigation. It would be terrible.
Spun all of these tales about how Russia was responsible for infiltrating the United States. And so now we're going to...
Again, that's not even debatable.
Hear from John Brennan just in a...
Carter Page worked for fucking Gazprom. 14 Gazprom, or 9, I guess it's like 9 of the 14 dudes that have died are work for Gazprom.
He's the one who said that the Hunter Biden laptop was...
Obama, that's not how you spell biased. You left the I out.
Russian disinformation. Look at how they blame Russia for everything, and it turns out to be lies. And now...
I'm sorry, what do we blame Russia for? I mean, obviously the price of gas and oil going up because the European Union was using a lot of oil and gas, took that off the market. Sanctions will affect that. That'll raise the price. That's not necessarily blaming Russia in that situation. You blame them attacking because it was the reason for the sanctions, maybe. But that's a direct consequence of a moral action by the rest of the Western world.
Now they're just going to assert this, knowing there's no evidence, hoping that Americans will continue to be gullible.
Well, Glenn, this doesn't surprise us one bit because
we only pick clips and guests that will not surprise us. That's the purpose.
We've actually been tracking what he has said and the multiplicity of lies and misinformation coming out of his mouth. It also doesn't surprise us, does it, that
us, the collective us, the Stepford wives, I think is who she's talking about.
YouTube decided to pull that Maloney speech from
and then put it right back up.
2019. Whatever you think about the speech, some people like it, some people don't. But she's new prime minister of Italy. They pull her speech. It's gotten millions and millions of
like, we're going to find out later that her party asked for it to be pulled down because it was going to be used against her. And then they're like, fuck it, put it back up.
Likes and so forth. And then they restore it later today saying, oh, it was an error. Do they have any credibility on that?
Well, she might have gotten a bunch of community strikes. That happens all the time where people just like do bully striking. And since she was just freshly there, that makes total sense. People will get in there and start fucking with people. And then it triggers an automatic pull down of the video. And then somebody reviews it and they put it back up and they go, this is an error. It just automatically did it.
Big tech is really digging their own grave, much like the corporate media did.
Yeah, the big tech is terrible. That's why you can find me on Rumble.
No one trusts the corporate media. You look at polls because they're partisan operatives for the Democratic Party and people know they're willing to lie. Big tech is increasingly proving and announcing that the only things we permit on our platforms are things that completely align with establishment pronouncements. We saw that during COVID, the war in Ukraine.
No, we didn't.
We're seeing it now when there's the Italian people elect somebody that Brussels bureaucrats disapprove of. And as a result, you can read almost anything you want on her. And one of her videos was attacked online by a mob of bots probably and got pulled down and then put back up. Who gives a fuck? Emerging an entire new ecosystem on the internet that's devoted only to free speech and to resisting censorship demands.
Dude, he's bought into Rumble. That's what we're learning. This is like a Glenn Beck fucking clip. He's dovetailing. Rumble just went public. This fucker invested in public. If they don't mention...
It's like Google, which owns YouTube, is increasingly imposing, and everybody knows it. And I think that they're really, in a way, fueling their own backlash because this kind of repression,
no, they're not.
Tolerance for any dissent at all is something that's...
Yes, you can't say bad things about YouTube on YouTube, especially in clips of other shows posted on Fox News's YouTube channel. Like,
just unsustainable.
My free speech is being violated. That's why you can watch me on a broadcast television show that is also shown on cable and that airs online on a website that you can also go to. And then the clips are posted on YouTube and Rumble and every other site. God damn it.
Well, and I think it shows the weakness of their position because when you're confident about your views or your policies...
Yeah, you're confident about your views and your policies, you can just say it. Yeah,
you welcome a debate.
That's right. I welcome a debate. Dinesh just won't show up for it. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I offered to watch his own movie with him and go through the whole fucking thing.
But the Democrats, sadly, and I'm sure some Republicans as well, but Democrats,
yeah, just a couple though,
right now seem to be running from an actual policy debate, whether it's on Ukraine or sending another $12 billion to Ukraine. I guess we found out this.
There was by the way, a policy debate on the floor of the Congress, and then it passed, and then the money got sent. Like, there's a debate that goes on in Congress all the fucking time about nearly everything.
This week, is there any real debate about how things?
Greg, Hal needs to debate Anna Kasparian. I don't know what I would debate her about. I would just call her out for being anti-voting. See, I'm for the stuff that she's allegedly for. I just want it to actually happen. I don't want to make a living for 10 fucking years making sure it doesn't.
Things are going in Ukraine, or are we just going to agree with whatever CNN says?
I mean,
no, of course not. We're going to agree with whatever you say, Laura.
It's the war fever that we've seen over and over. It's amazing. Once it starts, everyone's petrified of questioning it. There's
well, especially if you're in Russia, if you question it, they'll scoop you the fuck up. Here you can question it and people will call you out as a fuckhead and yell at you on Twitter. And I know it's heartbreaking. Whereas in Russia, they'll just round you the fuck up. And if you guys can't tell the difference between those two things, that's the issue. If this boils down to fucking anything, it's that this dickhead can shit all over the government, and so can she, and I can if I have a problem with it, and we can go out and march, and we can complain about this stuff, and if socially people have a problem with us, we'll catch hell for it in amongst our friends or our online friends or whatever. In Russia, you just get fucking scooped up and put in goddamn jail.
About 6 dozen or 7 dozen members of the House Republican caucus and Republican Senate caucus who have been willing to step up and say, we don't think billions of dollars should be sent to a war in Ukraine.
Yeah, we don't think that because most of our money comes from Russia through fake NRA accounts. And if he keeps losing, then we're fucked.
We have no vital interest at stake while Americans are suffering.
We have no vital interest at stake? No?
Suffering at home. The entire Democratic Party, or from AOC and Bernie to the most right wing of the Democratic Party, is completely unified. It's
weird. It's weird. Like it's almost like there's an entire spectrum of political thought that can actually work together and agree on certain principled ideas and certain work, whereas the Republicans are just kind of either not doing anything or fighting anything getting done. That's what it is. That's the two gears.
Completely unanimous in support of Biden's war policies. And again, I could accept that if there were a real debate. But if you question the claims of the CIA and the U.S. government and the EU about what's happening in Ukraine, you get
no
censored. And
okay, first of all, no, you don't. The Intercept isn't getting censored. He's going to be on fucking Rumble. He's not questioning it. I'm just asking questions when I state that ivermectin, if you inject it into your pee-pee hole, it'll cure COVID. That's not a question, fuckhead.
As you said, that is a sign that people are hiding lies and propaganda.
So Laura's hiding lies and propaganda because she won't have people come on to debate the Dodd decision with her. Is that what you're saying? That's the point you're trying to make. I appreciate you bringing it up. That's good. That's good. That's a good point.
They don't want any dissent permitted.
Yeah, we don't want any dissent permitted. That's why you're on a national television show at fucking prime time talking about this. Fucking hell. Like this is like there's a lot of whinging on the right about free speech. My free speech is being violated. Thanks, guys. I see you. Thank you. 5 minutes. My free speech is being violated. Why? Because people are calling me names. Like, that's how shit works. Whatever happened to the fuck your feelings grow a pair crowd?
Yeah, any question turns you into a pro-Putin, apparatchik.
No. There's lots of questions that would not turn you into a pro-Putin apparatchik. The questions that are the problem are like, why are we even bothering to do this? Or, those baseline, like, guided questions, those push poll questions that Laura likes to ask.
I mean, that's the extent of the debate. Glenn, thanks. Great to see you tonight.
Hey, it's so great. It's so great. By the way, you're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. I have, we got 5 minutes. I got 4 minutes left. Motherfucker. And I've got huge clips to do. You know what? Tomorrow I'm just going to get a hotel room. And while I'm waiting for the show, I'm just going to stay on all day. Because God damn it. This is so fucking stupid. Can we just do the first 2 minutes of this? I promise I'll be all right. Here we go.
So, Glenn, you had the big special last night on the economy. And
oh, well, then that's what we got to do then. I'm sorry. He did a big special on the economy. I'm going to do that. I'm just going to, I'll do it this weekend at some point when I have some free time.
I find it to be a really fascinating situation right now.
Fascinating.
Let me give you just a couple of stats that I've seen.
Real quick.
Yeah. The pending home sales in the United States,
which were out of fucking control last year.
Down 22.5%
year over year.
Year over year.
Motherfucker. Because they were ridiculously high last year.
That's as low as the 2008 financial crisis.
Yeah, except in 2007, there wasn't a fucking mad dash to buy homes and build homes and buy homes and build homes and move into another home and buy a second fucking property. There was no, you got to check the year before. Otherwise, there's no fucking relation.
And almost as low as the COVID collapse, which you might remember, we basically shut down the entire world in March.
Everything shut down at that point.
April of 2020.
And almost as big at 20%. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, so nobody was really buying houses at that time because you couldn't leave your house.
Couldn't leave your house, right?
Okay.
I bought my house during COVID. Summer and I literally put our down payment down and then COVID hit, and we waited for it to get done and moved in during fucking COVID.
So it's just... It's a little better than that.
A little better than that.
Little better than closing every business, every bank, every...
No. Home sales during that month, specifically, I think did he say August? Yeah.
Real estate
3 months into lockdown.
Office, all transactions stop. It's a little better than that. Yeah. Okay.
Liquidity conditions in the U.S. Treasury market. This is...
Wait a minute. I got 2 minutes left, and this motherfucker is about to step on a rake.
Measured by Bloomberg. It is as bad
and there we have it. Liquidity is the problem. There are not enough dollars in circulation. We've been printing money, motherfuckers. Have been on this talking point for 2 fucking years. I mean, they've been saying this kind of stuff forever. Liquidity means there's not enough cash. But I thought we turned on the money printers, the money, and we're printing and the money, and all we do is print money, and we're going to destroy everything, and the country's going to be wrecked because we're printing the money. And then, you know what liquidity means? The liquidity crisis means there are not enough dollars in circulation for the people who need them to buy, borrow, or sell things with them.
It's March 2020, basically. As bad as March 2020. Then you have...
By the way, going back to the liquidity standard pre-COVID just means that the trillions of dollars of injected material wealth went somewhere and sat. They turned into stuff.
This situation, which I find to be fascinating.
I find it fascinating that you just are going to drive by that shit and not realize that everything Glenn Beck has been saying, and I'm guarantee he said it in his fucking special last night, has been bullshit.
If you want to pay $2,500 a month on your mortgage, okay, $2,500 a month with 20% down. Typical sort of situation, you might be going to buy a new home. As of a year ago, you could afford a house that was $759,000 with that outcome. 20% down, $2,500 a month.
It's because we were at 0.25% interest. And so the bank rate was 3%.
$759,000 a year ago. Now it's $476,000 because of all
at the same payout over 35 years, you fucking tool.
The interest rate changes, all the inflation and all of that.
And all of that. Yeah, never mind. Oh my God. I'm just if I even go any further down that road, I will don't make me pull this show over. Son of a bitch. There's a liquidity problem. Here's a question. US dollar, very, very strong. Right? I mean, euros crashing, the British pound's having a hell of a time. Indian rupee is in the shitter. Turkey's fucked. US dollars blazing. Now, if you have, what can you get more money for? Something that someone wants that you have a lot of, or something that someone wants that you have very little of? Which one? Which one can you charge more for? The thing you've got coming out of your fucking ears, or the thing that you're short on and there's only a limited amount and you got to stand in line? That's where the dollar is. It's as strong as it's ever been, and there's still not a fucking enough of it for the rest of the world's economy. Ugh. All right. We've done this lecture before. Supply shock, it's not inflation. Bah. All right. I love you guys. I got to go and take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. I got to run an errand, and then I got to put my stuff together, and then I get to the airport. So see you guys tomorrow whenever I can. I'll tweet at HAL Sparks and let you guys know. I want to thank the trolls for stopping by. I'm sorry things are going so pitifully in your world. It just, it looks awful. I understand. Everywhere, every window you look out of, it's dark, it's gloomy, it's full of hate and blood and fear and disgust, and no one smiles at you anymore, and they don't even bother to tell you your breath's bad because they don't want to get close enough to talk to you. I understand. But I want you to know that here, you're always welcome, as long as you can mind your P's and Q's and not be too much of a prick and steer away from racist and sexist language. You can hang out. It's okay. You'll find it safer. And you help us beat the algorithm with your eyeballs. And remember, the greatest gift you can give another human being is your time. And I greatly appreciate it. And the people who are here because they like the show give it willfully and come away with something, I hope, at the end of the show. You just give away your time to any old stranger just to feel hate. And I thank you for that, because there's no refunds.